Greetings to all our amazing viewers. Once again, I'm Josna Anna Sam, grade 12 student and head girl of Sharjah Indian School, Sharjah, UAE. I'm here with my friend Ashika Mary John. She's also from Sharjah Indian School. She's a class volunteer. And we have been given this great opportunity to conduct this interview by Edu TV. Today, we have with us a visionary leader and educator who runs the top-ranked Universal Business School, India's first green business school. At 35, he was elevated to the youngest chairman and managing director of Thomson Reuters, South Asia. He invented the settlement solution, FX Settle. He's none other than Mr. Tarun Anand. Welcome to our discussion, sir. It is indeed a great honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here with us. So there's a quote that goes, it only takes one spark to light a fire inside you. So to start off today's discussion, sir, may I ask you, what was your inspiration to start this journey, your career? Or has there been an incident or a person who inspired you to enter the world of business?
So I think I was very motivated in the younger ages. I wasn't so good at studies. I was probably at the, we had a class of 35. So I was always 30th out of 35 for consistently. So I was at the end of the class. And I think I was put all my efforts into sports. So I was a big into sports, but academics wasn't that exciting for me. And then my father told me you could do one of two things because you play great tennis. You could become a tennis marker in some club, or you could become a driver because you drive the car very well. So that gave me a jhatka in my life, as they say, or that not a spark, I think a kick, more like a kick saying, no, something ain't right. And that's, I think, the gear change. And in my college, it then completely turned it around and I stood first in Mumbai University. And I was in every conceivable activity which you can dream of, whether it's representing college in tennis, football, cricket, table tennis, swimming, you name it. And then I represented India as well in the rugby, which is a sport which not very familiar with, but I played international tournaments representing India. So on the sports side, that was there. On the academic side, I mentioned. On the extracurricular side, I was also spending a lot of time working. So I actually went and worked for 3 years during my graduation. And that really developed my entire personality. And finally, on extracurriculars, I was standing for student council, won the elections, part of many societies, whether it's public speaking, debating. So I think I was complete opposite of my till my 10th or 11th, 12th, and then my graduation completely gear changed.
Thank you for that. So that's truly inspiring. It just takes one spark, rather one kick, right, sir, in your case. Thank you for that, sir. Now I'll hand it over to Ashika.
Yes, thank you for once again welcome on my behalf. And it's truly a great honor to have you here. And as we all know, Benjamin Franklin once said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So what would be your guidance on how students can enrich their minds, or how can they be successful? Like, they all have future ambition, but often they are driven away from their path. So how can you encourage them to come up to be successful? Because you're definitely a perfect epitome for it.
So there are some mantras. I don't know how much time we have, but depending on the time, I can go deep into them or tell you the tenets of it. What would you like?
So you can take your time. Yeah, very open.
Okay. So, I'll start I'll try and speed it up. So I started and I hope that, your batchmates and other students get a leaf out of my journey. So as I said, I started my career as a door-to-door salesperson. Now, as a door-to-door salesperson, I got a lot of, doors banged on your face. And it's very difficult, right? You get rejection, you get rejection, you get rejection. So it was tough. And, in Mumbai, if you're a door-to-door salesperson, you would need to get up at 6 in the morning because there's no point ringing a bell. Mumbai is a professional city, so both husband and wife go to work. So no point reaching your target market at 9 or 10. Nobody's at home. So you've got to start at 6 in the morning, and then you finish by maybe 9 if you're lucky. Someone is there, and then you start working at 7 p.m. and you go on till 11. So when people are at home is my target time. But when I would ring the bell, I would get a door slammed on my face. And of course, I had to innovate, right? I had to come up with something that can save me from that, uh, rejection, continuous rejection. So I came up with an idea. So just imagine you're at 6 in the morning, I ring your bell, the mother of the house opens the door. She's half in a sleep, angry, irritated. Firstly, even getting to the door is a challenge because many societies have a board saying dogs and salesmen aren't allowed. So even you have to get through that, your level of a dog. And then you get this. And then I say, you know what? I'm from HSBC and I'm here to sell you something. And I know what's going to happen. The door is going to slam on my face. And I would just take a leap of faith and put my leg while she's shutting the door. I put my leg inside the screen, the door, and the door would hit my leg. Sometimes lightly, sometimes not so light. And I would fall down, and I say, I would just get that hit, and I would just say, I think I've hurt myself, ma'am. I think I've hurt myself. Now she's feeling bad. She doesn't know what happened. Why did this happen? This kid has fallen on her doorstep. And I'm like, ma'am, I'll just go away. Sorry to bother you. Can I just have a painkiller? So she would, moms have a great heart. So she's feeling bad because of her, somebody's got hurt. So she goes and gets a glass of water with a painkiller. And I'm like, painkiller, about to have painkiller water. And I'm like, ma'am, I just forgot I've not had breakfast today. I'm not asking for a double cheese omelette with French fries and toast. All I'm asking is for a cup of chai, right? It's just 2 sips of chai. I'll have it and I'll be out of it. Now she's kind-hearted. She's committed to this kind act of helping this kid, and so she follows through with making some chai. I wasn't getting 2 seconds in front of her. Now I had 15 minutes chai, to make the tea, 5 minutes to drink the tea. That's 15 minutes of bonanza. Guess what? Sale done, right? Next house, it was Ghanti Fall painkiller chai sale, Ghanti Fall painkiller chai sale, Ghanti Fall. One shot, sometimes 5 painkillers. Now, why am I sharing the story? Because in life, doors are going to slam at your face. Either find a way through the door, like I did. So there's always another door. There's always another chance. There's always another opportunity. And if you can ingrain that in your system, right, failure is going to come, right? There's no 2 ways about it. But you should know there's always another better way of doing things. There's another way. There's always going to be some opportunity. So we shouldn't give up. And I think one of the fundamental things, in my career is that never give in, no matter what the odds. Just lage raho, keep doing it, and you'll find a way. So that would be my, one of my ideas. And if you want more, I'm sure, because I don't want it to become a monologue.
We are very happy to hear that from you. You can go on. If you have any more success mantras, we would really want to imbibe.
Tarun sir, I would like to add one thing. Gurdeep sir, Tarun sir father told me very good thing. If you visit some very senior personality and if he or she offers you tea or coffee, don't say no. Now he or she is gagged with you for another 15 minutes. And you can use that 15 minutes like Tarun sir did chill pills. Isn't it? Now we also welcome Captain Dr. Dinisha Bhardwaj Singh. She's a principal of Global Indian International School, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Welcome, ma'am. Mr. Tarun Anand with us.
Very, very good evening, Mr. Pranav and Mr. Tarun. Very good evening. I heard a lot, and
good evening.
I am glad that I'm here with you today.
Yes, sir. Tarun,
likewise, ma'am.
The next mantras.
Okay, so my next mantra is the concept which I would like to say is smashing the deadline. So I was in London, and my boss was a Britisher called Mark Robson. We had 4 Brits, 2 Americans, a couple of French, a German, a Chinese, a Japanese, a Aussie, a Brazilian, and me, part of the global management team. And we used to meet every quarter to essentially look at the growth of the business strategically. And one such quarter, we had an idea. One of my colleagues put an idea that we want to set up buy a $25 million company. So everybody agreed it's a great idea. But my boss said, yeah, good idea, but let's do due diligence, right? And the concept of due diligence, for some of you who might not know, it's like when your father goes to buy a car, he looks at the engine, he looks at the performance, he looks at the mileage, he looks at the features and the accessories, the styling, all of that, right? The space. Similarly, when you buy a company, you look at everything. You look at the people, the company, the assets, the liabilities, the machinery, or whatever you're buying, right? So my boss said, who will do the due diligence? My good friend and colleague, Heiko Cassens from Germany, he said, I've been in Germany. It's a German company. I understand the market. I'll do the due diligence. So my boss, Mark, said, yeah, sure. How long will you take? He said 2 months. Okay, fair enough. But while he was just about to say 2 months, my American friend, Michael McCockle, he put up his hand. He said, I'd like to do the due diligence. How long will you take, Mikey? And he's an American, so the Americans always like to get under the skin of the Germans. No, I'm joking. It's just since World War II. So he says, I'll do the due diligence in 1 month. So then the American and the German are arguing, right? The American's like, no, come on, Heiko. And Heiko's like, no, we need to do this analysis, that analysis. And the German American's like, no, we got to be fast. So they're arguing each other. I put up my hand. So Mark says, my name is Tarun, but I was called Tarun. So they said, Tarun, what do you say? I said, Mark, I'd like to do it. How long will you take? I said, 2 weeks. So the German and American who were arguing with each other, they pounced onto me. They said, what do you know? You've never come to Europe. You don't know any, you mess up this deal and this is ridiculous. And they were just out to get me. My boss stepped inside and said, no, Tarun, why don't you do it? I said, sure. Now, guess what? That very day, I took a flight to Frankfurt and I landed on Frankfurt airport. And my first thought was, I've never done due diligence in my life. Now, because my back was to the wall, I had to work 10x, right? 20 hours for 2 weeks. I worked, finally got my, due diligence report, gave it to my boss, and he was looking through it and he found some errors. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to get fired. Anyway, he completed the project report and he said, no, but it's got enough for us to take it to the next stage, which is called financial due diligence and closure. So we signed non-disclosure agreements with the company and do the negotiation. So I felt like, wow, right? And then it got better. My boss said, you know what, why don't you fly over Tarun to New York for dinner 6 months later? And I forgot about it. And I flew to New York, and at the New York dinner, he opens a bottle of champagne and he says, congratulations, Tarun, you're the new global CEO of the treasury business. My life changed. I was like, wow, this is a $2 billion business I'm managing in 136 countries. Nothing I never even imagined that. I'd never even beyond my dreams, right? And I said, but why me, right? Because all my colleagues, remember the Germans, the French, the Brits, they were close to 10 years senior to me, 10 years senior to me or above. They were from Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, MIT, all Ivy League schools. I was from Mumbai, why me? So my boss just answered saying, you know how to smash the deadline. And I was like, wow, that meant a lot of, why smash the deadline? Because if I hadn't put up my hand for a 2-week due diligence, our competitor Bloomberg would have bought that $25 million company. So he said, that's what I'm looking for. Someone who measures time and knows how to accelerate and give more bang for his buck in the same amount of time. So if, that's what is required, you are the right man. And then he was kind enough to say, move to New York. I was living in London. He said, move to New York. I've thrown I've bought a penthouse apartment for you. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are willing to never give in and smash deadlines, the world will come to your doorstep, right? And give you whatever career you would choose for. And then just to take that story forward, later on, I was made to, I decided that, okay, I'm done with New York. I've worked in Wall Street. I've worked in Bank Street, which is the equivalent for Wall Street in London. Now I'd like to move to Hong Kong. You decide, right? My boss said, where do you want to go? I said, I want to go to Asia. He said, you want to go to Japan? I said, no, Japan is, language might be difficult to adjust. Just because I'd been there several times and I wasn't sure. So he said, you want to go to Australia? I said, no, I've had a few racist attacks against me, so I don't want. He said, you want to go to Singapore? I said, no, Singapore is Disneyland with the death penalty. It's very, very regulated. And I chose Hong Kong, right? So I'm thinking when you have the world will come to your doorstep if you do that. So that's my number 2.
So that was a wonderful discussion that we had today with all our panel members. It was amazing. Sincere thanks to Mr. Tarun Anand, Captain Dr. Dinisha, and a special thanks to Mr. Pranav and EduTV for giving us this great opportunity, sir. And thank you so much to all our viewers who joined in today, and to Ashika, my co-host, of course. As always, take care, stay safe. Thank you.